Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Aatrox and we're back with another Mortal Kombat video. So today, if you guys already probably read it, the title is we're going to be talking about the Khaos Reigns Dlc. So I've kind of put it off for a while because I wanted to wait until I had a grasp of what I wanted, how I really felt about the DLC, because I didn't want to be influenced by other people's opinion, because I know a majority of the people don't like the story. But if I'm being honest, I think the majority of people that don't like the story is the same people who like to just dunk on Mortal Kombat, no matter what they do, whether they do something good or do something bad. I feel like those are the same people that just dunk on it, on the game. So I wanted to make sure that their opinions didn't sway my opinion on what I thought initially. And the initial thoughts is I actually liked the story. I think the story did well with the pacing and what they wanted to do. I think they did a good job with a lot of things, and I'm gonna go into what are some of the things that I did like in the story, and that I guess some things that I thought was a little off. Now, mind you, we're gonna go into the things that I thought. I did get a lot of things right in my initial take on the story. Noob Saibot. The only thing that was kind of off was the Noob Saibot thing. I thought he would get a redemption, but that's not what happens. Obviously, there's gonna be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't played the story, or if you want to watch the story first and then come back to the video, it's fine, whichever way you guys want to do it. So let's start with the actual story, right? So one of the theories I had was that I thought Bihan and the Lin Kuei were gonna go to they're in that fight with the wedding, and they were gonna lose, and Liu Kang and the rest of them, but we're gonna arrest them and then bring them to the meeting, which I got that one right. So that's cool. There's a few things that I actually got right in the story that I was right behind, and her and Sector's relationship. Obviously, it was pretty obvious. It wasn't anything that, I mean, if you had any kind of common sense, you could figure that out. What else? What you call it? The whole thing with Cyrax and Scorpion being able to squash the beef they had, and now they're back to being buddies again. There was a few things that I did get right, but let's start with the beginning of the story, right? So beginning, okay, the whole wedding situation happens. They lose. They go to meet with Melina, and Liu Kang's pretty much begging on behalf of Bihan and Sector to forgive them and just let him handle it. They need to break the cycle of violence. Violence doesn't stop violence. It's just going to be a problem for both realms if it continues. And yeah, so then Havoc comes in, beats the crap out of everybody, kidnaps Garrus, yada yada yada, and then Liu Kang sends the three of them, Sector, Cyrax, and Kuai Liang, to Outworld. This is the kind of mission that ninjas are pretty much better at than sending let's say the Shaolin monks and then the Outworlds. This is not a mission for them. This is a mission for ninjas. So they do, and they send them and honestly, the first part of the story is great, bro. You going through this almost mysterious type of realm where you see these giant squids and smugglers and people getting beaten the crap out of, everything you would think in a chaos regime. And then you meet Johnny Cage, or Colonel Jonathan Cage, which obviously this is a Chaos Realm version. Well, it's not a Chaos Realm version, but it's a different version of Johnny Cage from a different timeline that got put in there after Havoc fused his timeline with theirs. So this is almost like a OG story where you see realms are being fused together in terms of Outworld, back in the original timeline, which was cool to see. And then the giant squid, it was a lot of cool stuff during that one part. Fast forward to we meet Rain, and after all the fights, you meet Rain, and then Rain tells them that you have to, in order to get your friend, you have to also save Tanya. So they go on this mission to save Tanya, and then you have this almost a blood sport type event that's going on, which is kind of similar to what I would say Kano's arena and Mortal Kombat 11 when he was having people fight in that little blood cage. So that to me was kind of almost nostalgic when that term of events happened. And then you see they're fighting with Tanya against all of these Tarkatans and Khaos Reigns kind of opponents. You just see that Kenshi, this Khaos Reigns version of Kenshi, is dumb strong. He's able to use all his telekinetic abilities to pull them out of hiding, and he's able to detect if enemies are nearby. So they eventually do escape from the arena. Technically, they go down to this cage to get out, but they end up trapping themselves there, and they're running away and trying to fight off the Chaos Realms individuals, which I thought was interesting, because having the heroes trying to get away from the villains in the beginning part, and having like the villain just pretty much control what's going on in the arena, where you have to fight through puzzles and combatants and stuff like that. And I thought this part was really good, and it felt like something Mortal Kombat should be about, where like the villain is in control of everything, and that the people who are trying to get out and save the day, yada yada yada, should also like be trying to find a way to fight through their devices and traps and stuff like that, and then like just be able to break through everything. And obviously there was like, you know, you meet Emperor Rain and Empress Tanya. Was actually really cool to see on the screen. Like, this is a flashback back to Mortal Kombat. I feel like when Tanya and Rain were a thing, but like she betrayed Rain and got him killed in her ending, I think it was. But like this was like a what if story if like that didn't happen, if Tanya wasn't that a betrayer and traitorous person that she is later in Mortal Kombat games. So this is like, to me, like what could have been. And honestly, I really like this. I like the pairing of Rain and Tanya. I think they did a really good job doing that, and having evil Li Mei and Rico's already always evil, but the evil Li Mei be there with Rico, like, you know, the Melina from, like, I think it was, what was it, Deadly Alliance, where she betrays all the good guys to seek power and stuff like that. Like, I thought that was interesting. No, that wasn't Deadly Alliance. What was it? Was it Deception? I think it might have been Deception. Don't call me. It's been a while since I'm just kind of going spitballing off my memory here, but yeah. So it's kind of like that. And then, like, obviously in order to proceed to get out of that area to get to the next stage, they force the heroes to do something they don't want to do. They don't want to kill, like this Tanya and this Emperor Rain don't want to kill Li Mei and Rico. They don't want to do that, but you know, having that kind of like, if you don't do this, you're not going nowhere, you're stuck there. So like, I like the way they progressed through the events and stuff they did. And then, like, obviously going the part where Rain dies, like, honestly, like, it was a little hard to believe he could die there, considering his abilities as a Mortal Kombat 1 and his abilities in the past. But maybe he never learned how to teleport with his water, or use his ability outside of, maybe he has a limited ability with his Rain powers. Who knows? Like, it's kind of hard to say. I think he was just meant to be that catalyst that gives Tanya more of a reason to fight, you know, Havoc and all that, even though they already had more of a reason because they took their realm over. But then moving forward with that part, like the whole scene where what you call it, they're running through the what was it, what do we call it, the dungeon that they're trying to get through. They get separated and they're trying to meet up with each other again, and Tanya and Sector come across Orin. Now, why is there not more dragons in Mortal Kombat? For a game that, like, whole symbol is a dragon, you would think there would be more instances of dragons, but we've only seen instances of dragons in Armageddon, from what I remember. Like, Armageddon was the only time we saw it, when that was because of Orin and then the other dragon. I forget off the top of my head right now. But it was cool to see Orin and Tanya interact with Orin using the dragon tongue, and just basically, you know, showing respect to the dragons, because, like, obviously the dragons are treated as a higher form in the Mortal Kombat universe. So, like, having Tanya speak in their tongue and just show respect for them, and then having Orin use her abilities to teleport, and seeing that ability again, like, that we haven't seen since Mortal Kombat Armageddon pop up, was super cool to me. Like, obviously as a fan of, like, Mortal Kombat Armageddon and, like, the story, like, just seeing things that flashbacks to back of things that we knew, it was cool to me. So, like, you know, for the most part, like, I think the story did a good job with, like, nostalgia and doing things that it was cool. Like, they had the one scene where Johnny Cage had a shield when they're fighting underneath, and he was fighting against people with the shield, and I'm like, okay, that's a callback to the Mortal Kombat 1 movie. Like, there was, like, a lot of instances of things like that, and I do want to play the story again, just because I know I missed a bunch of things, but, like, just off the top of my memory and just that one big playthrough I did. And then just the pacing of the story, like, I thought it was cool. I did get the wrong Sector Cyrax. I thought there would be maybe a good version of them, but they were actually the Khaos Reigns versions of them, which was interesting. That was more of the final fight, because you see Noob Saibot, and, you know, Noob Saibot couldn't resist the evil that the Chaos did to him. So, like, it got to a point where he even challenged Liu Kang, where, like, you know, he fought and defeated, using the Chaos powers, he defeated Titan Havoc. And the story after they escape from the dungeon and get what you call it, Noob Saibot, I felt like once they got Noob Saibot, the story just kind of felt, the pacing felt a little off, if I'm being honest, because, like, So, okay, the rest of the fight was, okay, now you're Noob Saibot. You're at the end of the story, and Noob Saibot's fighting through all these opponents, and like he can't control himself. He kills the Khaos Reigns version of Kuai Liang and the Khaos Reigns version of Bihan. And then like the more he's fighting, the stronger. Like after he gets control of his mind back from Liu Kang, he starts losing control of his anger and his temper. And like the more and more he fought, like he just kept that kept escalating to the point where he even was challenging Liu Kang, and then Garrus intervened and stops him. And they realize at that point, you realize something's wrong with Noob Saibot. Like he's not where he should be mentally. He's always had like a lack of patience, but this was really like where it kind of just like became problematic to the point where he was challenging Liu Kang. So they decided to ultimately put him in a comatose state, put him in this little box that kept him asleep, and he was going to be in a Temple of Elements till Liu Kang could find basically could find a way to heal him from the whole noob and the chaos stuff like that. But if you play through Sector's ending, you kind of realize that Sector ultimately ends up she undertakes the quest from Quan Chi that Quan Chi the Lin Kuei gave Sub-Zero in their OG timeline, where they're bringing to the Temple Elements to get this amulet, which I don't understand how this is a thing, because Shinnok doesn't exist in this timeline, so the amulet shouldn't be in the Temple of Elements. Like, unless they're going to explain how this is maybe it's not his, maybe something else happened it's different. I don't know. Like, that part is a little confusing why she was given this mission. But anyways, it is what it is. I think this is more of a candidate to kind of continue what they're going on. But unlike Sub-Zero, she ends up grabbing Bihan and leaving the amulet instead to make sure Bihan's okay. So obviously the story itself, I liked the story majority of the time, but I think the ending was kind of like, I don't know what they were trying to do there. I felt like maybe they would have redeemed Bihan to some degree, but then again, it is Noob Saibot. Noob Saibot is not meant to be a good guy. He's meant to be a bad guy. So maybe they just want to continue with that. Basically just continue with that kind of lore, but spin it in a different route. But I like the story overall. Now, onto the characters. I've been like, Sector looks awesome, bro. Like, I've seen clips of Noob Saibot and Cyrax, and they look like old school, like Mortal Kombat 9 versions of Cyrax and of Noob Saibot. Like, I really like the way that these characters have been designed. They feel complete, like characters, like compared to like other characters. Like the cameos are a good asset to like really extend their combos, but they're not obliged by these cameos to be a necessity for them. Like, they can use multiple different types of cameos to do different types of combos. Like, for example, Sector right now, people are using Motaro, and people are using Kung Lao, and people are using Sector. So like, then there's all types of different types of combo. Like me myself, I'm using Scorpion with Sector because they have really good chemistry and they can do things. Scorpion allows Sector to do things that no other cameo can do, involving timing and stuff like that. Like, this is more of like, you know, if you want just to see some fire on fire combos. Like, I think they did a good job with Sector. Obviously, I'm going through all the characters right now. I think the next character I'm gonna go with is Noob Saibot, and then just trying to figure some of his mechanics out. I'm trying not to look at any other people playing the character because I don't want it to be spoiled. I want to figure out my own things and just kind of do my own thing. But yeah, like the characters are great. Like, I really like the characters. Obviously the shrine, the warrior shrine, it's obviously a disappointment because, like, you know, we waited a year, and for it to take a year and it only be about like being you're immortalized in the game, that like after once the next game comes out, it's not even gonna matter. Like, it feels a little bit of a waste. Maybe eventually they'll give you rewards and something to earn towards getting to that point. Maybe they'll make it worth it, but who knows. The warrior shrine, that are probably the most disappointing things to me in the whole Khaos Reigns, and we already knew that going into it because of the whole combat cast. The invasions was pretty easy. I got through that like super fast. The animalities are pretty sick to look at too. I'm gonna probably make a video of me just reacting to all the animalities. But for now, like, you know, I liked a bunch of them. Like, some of them were a little confusing though, I'm not gonna lie, but we'll get that. That'll be for another video. Overall, I think the Khaos Reigns story, it was pretty good. It was pretty good for a DLC. I think obviously the ending pacing was kind of like a problem. I think they're having this problem with not even just the Mortal Kombat 1 story, but now also in the Khaos Reigns story, where the end pacing of the story is becoming a problem, where I don't know if they're just having a hard time like coming to a point where they can like make it smooth, or maybe they do that on purpose so when the next story comes in, who knows. There was no after credit scenes for the next DLC story, which I think that's because they haven't figured it out yet. Maybe they're in the process of planning it and they'll show a teaser soon enough, like maybe towards the end of the year they'll show something about maybe the next story DLC for Mortal Kombat, because obviously this isn't going to be the last one. Like we've heard in interviews before that Ed Boon has plans to keep going with these basically with these stories, so we'll see where it goes. And obviously like he shut down rumors that they're working on another game and that Mortal Kombat 1 is going to be it basically they're gonna keep pushing out content for the story and adding more characters and more cameos. I've covered the video of the article where he's talking about all this stuff already, so if you haven't, it's on the channel. It's like probably like last week or something like that. But anyways, like I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't agree with me in terms of the Khaos Reigns story, and that's fine. You can disagree. Like everyone has their own opinion on it. Obviously the story is not perfect, it's not, but there are elements of it that hits the nostalgia that makes it better than what it probably is. But at the end of the day, like, you know, hopefully they figure this out by the end of this game, and starting with the next game, they'll start making these stories better. Because like I felt like Mortal Kombat 11 had a better story long-term wise for the whole story versus Mortal Kombat 1, which I feel like in the original story they didn't know what they wanted to do with the story, and it just kind of felt like they were going through the motions, versus like Mortal Kombat 11, like they knew what they wanted to do with each point up to the point of where Mortal Kombat 11 story ended and the DLC story came in. So hopefully we'll see like something like that happen where they kind of figure out what they want to do, and like maybe they end this whole timeline or multiverse stuff that they got going on. Because like it was one thing when it was all realms and you could just go to a different realm, we meet new characters, new stories, new world building. But when it comes to these timeline stuff, like every character has every character that we know or have different versions of them have different personalities, different everything. Like it's, I don't know, it gets a little taxing at times. But anyways, that's my thoughts on the Khaos Reigns. I think the story was okay. I don't think it was great by any means, but I think the nostalgia hits well enough to where like you're like, oh, that's cool. Like, you know, it gets you excited if you know anything about the story and like lore, and just like, you know, if you played the older Mortal Kombat games, like I feel like it would tug on certain things a little bit more than like if somebody who's like in the new age that started playing after Mortal Kombat 9 would. I feel like maybe that's the discrepancies between the, you know, older fans and like people who are just getting into the Mortal Kombat game, so where they think the story is just really bad. Like obviously the story could use work, that goes without saying, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's as bad as people are saying. And maybe it's just like people are just, you know, you're just dunking on the game because they don't like the game, but it is what it is. That's my opinion on the matter. I just wanted to kind of like make this video to kind of like talk about that. But anyway, guys, what do you guys think about the Khaos Reigns story? You know, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are gonna hate, talk about how much they hate the story and give me a bunch of reasons why, and that's fine. You can talk about it in the comment section. Let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm out of here, guys. Peace.